Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. We are responding to a few inquiries we've received, as well as responding to some conversations that we've noted in the general public regarding how does one apply to the Western District of Washington, where the high-profile case of Goncalves et al. Is currently proceeding, although there is a pending motion to change the venue to the Eastern District of Washington. I have provided a link to the U.S. District Court, Western District of Washington, that addresses the procedures, the protocols, and also has a hot link to a form that must be completed and emailed in advance of a court proceeding, asking to have a specific court proceeding broadcast to the public. This notice states, headline, cameras in the courtroom procedures effective June 1st, 2017. Item number 1, the clerk will only seek consent of the parties to video record a scheduled proceeding upon receipt of a specific request for video recording from the presiding judge, a party to the case, the media, or a member of the general public. Upon receipt of a request for video recording and the approval of the presiding judge, A notification of request for video recording will be docketed by the clerk's office for the scheduled proceeding, and B, consent will be presumed unless a party completes and submits a party objection to request for video recording. And there is a hot link to that objection form located here in paragraph 1B. And that must be submitted within 5 days of receipt and emailed to the assigned judge's courtroom deputy. And then there's a hot link that lists who the courtroom deputies are. Then there's the cautionary disclaimer, do not e-file the party objection. That would be on the PACER program, where the docketed items that you've seen in the case, such as the answer and affirmative defenses, copy of the complaint, the removal to federal court from state court, and other related matters. What this is cautioning is that this form should not be e-filed onto the PACER system. Party objections will not be docketed or become part of the public record of the case. Item 2. Any party to a case, the presiding judge, the media, or the general public, may request that a proceeding in a civil case be video recorded by completing A, and then there's a hot link to this form, request for video recording, and emailing it to, and then the contacts information's given here. It continues, this is paragraph 2, such requests must be submitted no later than 20 days prior to the proceeding at issue. Do not e-file the request. The clerk will send a notification of request for video recording to the parties. After receiving a request, parties must then submit a party objection as described above. And then there's a few more paragraphs here I'll leave you to read if you're interested in learning more about this. Now, 2 points. The federal courts typically do not broadcast or even have cameras in the courtroom for any federal proceedings. But for this pilot program, federal court proceedings are typically not broadcast. In the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeal District, which covers several states in the federal court system in the western part of the United States, such as Idaho, Washington, and California, there are only 3 district courts that have been participating in this pilot program, the Western District of Washington being one. If this case gets transferred to the Eastern District of Washington, which is a pending matter that Washington State University is looking to have the court grant, the Eastern District of Washington is not participating in this pilot program. Secondly, the federal courts have made available prior federal proceedings that were broadcast to the public. And I've included a link to that website so you can see some of the cases, including out of the Western District of Washington, that were recorded and broadcast to the public. This will now conclude this episode of the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. Thank you for joining us here today.